In today's How It Works, we're talking about something very important for families with babies. So I am with Brittany Hayes, who's going to teach us about infant CPR. Now, Brittany, we all have seen CPR. We all know what CPR is, but when is it appropriate to use?
Sure, we have to make sure that two things aren't happening. So baby is not breathing and they're also not responding. Those are two things that need to be missing in order to start CPR.
The technique is very different than what we would do on an adult.
So for an infant, they're a lot smaller than an adult. So the way that we place our hands is different. We have to change our finger position. We don't push as hard. So we change it up just a little bit.
Obviously, parents need to know how infant CPR is administered, but grandparents, siblings, babysitters.
Right.
It's important really for everyone, in that community to know in order to save a life.
Right. Everybody's going to be taking care of baby at some point or another. So it's important for everybody to have that knowledge base. Hopes that, we never have to use these skills, but in case of emergency, you would know how to act.
Brittany says the first step before starting is to make sure it's safe to begin.
Because if I'm not safe, I don't want to be pushing on somebody's chest. So I want to make sure that we're all safe. And then we're going to be checking for responsive. So we're going to be tapping baby's foot and say, hey baby, are you okay? I don't have a response there. Then I'm going to actually call for help. If I see somebody across the room, hey you, call 911, get an AED. And now I'm going to check to see if they're breathing. So rather than putting our ear down, we're just looking at the chest for about 5 to 10 seconds. We're just looking. I don't see the chest rising or falling, so then I'm going to start CPR. We need to do chest compressions, but we don't want to push right over their sleeper or their clothes because we want to identify those landmarks to make sure we're pushing in the right spot. So for an infant, we're looking for the middle, and then I'm also looking for the nipple line there. My fingers are going to be underneath the nipple line. So for an infant, we use 2 fingers.
Right.
And for those of us who have uneven fingers, that's both of us, we're going to bend our middle finger so they become even with the first finger there.
Okay.
So basically, these are going to go underneath the nipple line there, and they're going to be right next to each other. So I want to push on that breastbone. And then go ahead, try that. Push down. Perfect.
Talk about pushing hard, because I feel like I'm hurting this little infant right here that I'm
Sure.
pushing so hard.
We learned from the American Heart Association that we really want to push as hard as we can. Again, so we're getting that blood flow to where it needs to go. So for an infant, we're pushing about 1.5 inches. But again, you're not getting a ruler out. So
Right.
we want to make sure that we're just pushing hard. So we're going to do 30 compressions in a row.
After 30 compressions comes 2 breaths.
We go right into the breath.
Right, we don't want to waste time. We want to keep that blood flowing, get that little bit of oxygen through. To do breaths, we actually have to open up the airway. With our dominant hand here, we can go off to the side of their chin. Basically, what we're going to do here is push back. Another big difference that you can see with infants is you don't pinch their nose. I want to take a breath in, and then I'm going to go down, and my entire mouth is going to go over baby's nose and mouth, and I'm just going to breathe in.
I think the biggest lesson is to take the class and learn how to do infant CPR, because it could really save a life.
Hopefully you don't ever have to use the skills, put them to action, but in case of emergency, you would know and have confidence to be able to act.
Thank you so much, Brittany.
You're welcome.
To learn how other medical procedures work, just head to our website, livinghealthytv.com.